Welcome back to HHSTV coverage of the Democratic National Convention. Today I'll be interviewing Gary Bynum, a Hillary Clinton delegate from Tennessee. Mr. Bynum became the first openly gay councilman in Nashville, Tennessee, and has supported Hillary Clinton since the beginning. What follows is my interview with him. I'm here with Hillary Clinton delegate Gary Bynum from Tennessee. Mr. Bynum, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
First, I'd like you to tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you get involved in politics?
I got in politics several years ago, mainly through the county party, the County Democratic Party. I've been a Democrat all my life, but I never really got into politics until the local party asked me to chair a fundraising dinner for them. And I just dug in there and just dove in and got into the meat of the party, that you get out and you meet donors, you meet voters, you register people. So that really excited me. So I chaired 2 dinners for them, and these were dinners that would usually hold 500 people, and so it was a big fundraiser. So I got involved there, and now through that work there, I am now the chair of the party for the Madison County Democratic Party.
Why Hillary Clinton? Why not Bernie Sanders? Why not Martin O'Malley?
I'm a huge Clinton fan. I remember the days of Bill Clinton in the presidency, and I admired Hillary Clinton for all the work that she did. She was a typical first lady. She actually was out and wanting to get more involved. She wanted to help make policy, where that was the sticking point for a lot of people. They didn't think the first lady should be doing that. But that was something that I admired about her, is that she was out there working. She wasn't like at home making cookies. That one of the statements that got her in trouble. I admired that, and I admire a strong woman. I'm from a family of 10, and it's a single mother. Our father left us, so I know women know how to lead, and I know they do a much better job of leading and getting resources together and getting people in agreement. So I just think a good female is a really good leader.
What do you think qualifies Hillary Clinton to be president?
What qualifies her is her years of work in the public sector, in the private sector. She has been out there fighting for families and children to make sure they had health care. She's been fighting for children all of her life. She was a senator from New York. She was our Secretary of State. So she is probably the most uniquely qualified candidate that I can remember. And, I'm in my 50s, so there's been quite a few candidates, but I think she is the most uniquely qualified. And our president said that there has never been someone more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton.
As for the issues, what do you think is the most important issue that people from Tennessee face?
The most important issue is health care, lack thereof for people who do not have it. And our state legislature is run by Republicans, and they refuse to even bring up a vote for providing health care or for opting into Medicaid. They refuse to do that. So the data for people dying in Tennessee or having severe medical issues because they cannot access health care, it's numbing. And it could all go away. We could all stop that if we would only opt in.
As for the broader scale, what do you think is the most important issue that Americans in general face?
The most broader issue that we face, that's a good question. I've never for a part. I think from my perspective, I think the broader issue that we face as a country is division. Is that we are so divided between Republican and Democrat, and there's just a few amount of people that actually determine elections. Now that's why we talk about swing states, and I think we're not unified. We're more divided, and I would like to see us to come along, and we can actually make good policy as long as both sides of the party are willing to talk about it. And that's something you see over the last 8 years. There has been no policy making from Congress because they refuse to promote anything that comes down from Barack Obama or any idea or any one of his initiatives. It's just dead on arrival. So I think that's the big problem.
Do you think that Hillary Clinton can fix those issues that you talked about? Can Hillary stop the partisan nature of our politics, considering the fact that the Republican convention was all about how we can't have Hillary Clinton?
Well, I'm not going to lie, it's going to be hard. It will be a difficult thing to do. But I also think with this election, we're going to be, hopefully, electing more Democrats to the Senate and to the House. It's going to make it that a little bit easier. But I do know that Secretary Clinton has a unique ability to reason with people and to reach across the aisle when necessary to get things done. She proved that when she was in the Senate. And she was a great Secretary of State. So I think she has got the resources to do that, and she has the experience. So I really think that she can make some headway there.
Now, the platform that was just adopted is being called the most liberal in Democratic history.
Yes.
Do you think that the platform is too liberal? Do you think it'll deter any moderates?
I don't think it's too liberal. I mean, these are things that we've been talking about for years. And, if making $15 an hour to get someone out of poverty is too liberal, then I think whoever thinks it's too liberal might want to check themselves, because, we want people to advance. We want people to do better. And, making a minimum wage should be there.
Do you think that Bernie Sanders has moved Hillary Clinton to the left at all?
I think he did. I think he made her a better candidate. He made the race intriguing, it exciting. It brought a lot of people out into the process. And it did bring her over. It made her take some positions earlier that probably what she was wanting to do. Like, the minimum wage. She was $12.50. I think it was $12.50 or $12 an hour. So, and I think with the platform improvement to 15, it's just like, it edged her along the way, but she's liberal. She's a progressive. She's a Democrat, and I think that's not going to be a problem for her.
Would you say that you're happy with the work that Senator Sanders has done?
For the party or as a senator?
More for the election for the party.
I am happy that he did bring people into the process that that might not have just sat out and not voted, and hopefully they're going to show up and vote, to get a Democrat, because they voted in the Democratic primary or caucuses for a Democrat. So now we need to get a Democrat elected. So I'm happy he did that.
If Senator Sanders had won the nomination, would you be supporting him?
Of course. I'm a Democrat, and I support the Democratic nominee.
Have you been following the RNC in Cleveland?
I did follow it some. It was a hate fest, is what we call it in our house. It was from Monday night until Thursday. It was nothing but doom and gloom. And like one commentator said on MSNBC, they didn't realize we lived in Gotham City. It was just that bad. And so our convention is going to be uplifting. It's just that America is great, so we don't have to make America great again. It's just like we're already there, and we're just going to keep this good thing that we have going.
Do you think that the Democratic Party could benefit in terms of getting more people over to the Democratic Party by making their convention more optimistic than the Republicans?
Yes. We're going to be very optimistic, and we're going to showcase everything that's good in this country, and a lot of good in what happens in this country. And when there's important laws that come to help everyone, it's the Democrats that do that.
Do you think that the Republicans can unify under Donald Trump as their nominee?
I don't think they're going to unify as much as he is hoping or is expecting. You can just see it. There's a feel and a sense out there, and you're getting Republicans that won't endorse him.
Now, in your mind, comparing Hillary to Donald Trump, how do they compare on key issues?
On key, well, he's
For
against
example,
minimum wage.
Okay, yeah.
Minimum wage. He doesn't think there should be a minimum wage. So, So someone who claims to be a billionaire, who doesn't have these issues about wages, he doesn't think someone just starting a family or whatever should worry about that. National security, what is his national security policy? I mean, she has been with, in the State Department. She's been Secretary of State. She was in the room when they made the decision to kill Osama bin Laden. So she has the chops to do this. He doesn't. He says he gets his national security advice from the talk shows. That's not how you answer a question. That's not policy.
Do you think that establishment status that Hillary Clinton has might end up hurting her?
I don't think establishment is bad. I think the Democratic establishment has proven to be a force for workers, a force for someone needing health care, a force for equality. That's the Democratic establishment that I know. So no.
Does it worry you that right now 59% of Americans view Hillary Clinton unfavorably?
It bothers me because I think it's wrong, and I think they've been listening to 30 years of propaganda and lies that's been put out by the other side. Is that I think people are they're immune to it now, and they say, okay, we just automatically we don't like Hillary Clinton, but just step back, sit down, and read everything that she's done. And I just think it's unfounded.
Do you think that some of the scandals that Hillary Clinton has gone through are legitimate reasons to vote against her? For example, the FBI, although not recommending any charges, did say that she broke the law by lying to federal officials about her emails.
Well, you might say I don't think she lied to federal officials. I think what she presented was the way she felt and the way she viewed that no, there wasn't anything that she sent that was marked confidential or top secret. I don't think it was a lie. It was just that's the way she perceived it. So yeah, and some people that's going to turn some people off, but it's it's an election, and things like this happen. I hate that it happens to the Clintons a lot. It's just, but when you put yourself out there, then everything is under scrutiny.
Now, do you think that Hillary's long time in public policy making has hurt her in the fact that she's had to take stances for a long time and has therefore switched positions? For example, she switched her position on the Keystone Pipeline or on even same-sex marriage.
Yes. So people evolve, and people make decisions according to the mood, usually, of what it is at that particular time. As a gay man, it doesn't bother me that she took a stand against same-sex marriage at that time, but she was supporting civil unions, and, they're all politicians, too. We got to realize that, too, is that this is how, you put your finger up in the air sometimes to see what the will of the country is going. But she's sincere in her support, and I think the Trans-Pacific Pipeline, the TPP, is that
partners or the Keystone Pipeline,
is that there are issues that have to be weighed carefully at a particular time, and she did come out. Did she call that the gold standard, or was that another one? Or someone? But it's just like you just have to. You take each situation at this time, you evaluate, and then you have to move forward, and you do what's best at that time.
Now, some people have been saying Hillary Clinton is just going to be 4 years more of Barack Obama. Do you think that Hillary Clinton should be proud of that title, that she'll be 4 more years of Obama, or should she try to distinguish herself more?
She is going to distinguish herself, certainly. But President Obama, has laid out some great policies, and these are things that we need to continue. Now, she's not going to be 4 more years of Obama. She's going to be 4 years of President Clinton, Hillary Clinton.
What do you hope Hillary Clinton's legacy will be?
I hope her legacy will be, one, is that she proved once and for all that a woman can lead this country and lead it well, and she can unite. And that her legacy will be hopefully we'll be able to expand healthcare. We'll be able to get more kids and families out of poverty. And I hope that's the legacy I want to see from her.
What do you think is Hillary Clinton's strongest appeal to voters who are undecided?
Her experience. She has the experience. And, if I think most independent voters, that's what they're going to break forward. They're going to look at someone who has over 30 years of experience heading organizations, being a first lady, being a senator, heading huge departments within the government. She knows what she's doing. She can go out and talk to a foreign leader easily and understand what's going on. So that's what's going to do that.
Now, Hillary Clinton just announced that her running mate is going to be Tim Kaine. What do you think Tim Kaine brings to the table? What do you think he brings that Hillary doesn't already have?
Tim Kaine brings to the table. I didn't know much about Mr. Kaine. That I didn't know that much about him, but I went and I researched him and just his governance from a mayor to a governor to a senator. So he has that experience. So people might call it establishment, but he knows how to lead. And her number 2 pick is someone who can lead. So if anything should happen, there's someone that's going to immediately be able to step up. And he is from Virginia, which is a difficult state. It's very polarizing at times. He's a Democrat. He was able to win when it was mainly a Republican state then. So his experience is why she brought him on.
Now, Donald Trump has selected Mike Pence. What do you think of Mike Pence comparatively to Tim Kaine?
I don't care for Mr. Pence's stance on certain individual rights. It's disastrous legislation they passed in Indiana recently that affected the LGBT community was awful, and he stood firm on that. And he's made some other kind of odd statements in the past that not smoking isn't a health issue, and I just don't think he's not the type of leader. He's not Tim Kaine. They might have a similar background when you look at experience, maybe from the mayor to the governor. But I think Mike Pence was in the House of Representatives too, but it's totally different.
Now, what would you say are the odds that Hillary Clinton is going to be the next president of the United States?
I would like to say the odds are very good. I think it's going to be a very close election. But I think in the end, choosing Tim Kaine is that she is going to put independents' minds at ease that there is a capable person there that can back her up and has that similar experience.
Do you worry that people who supported Bernie Sanders during the primary cycle are going to switch over to Donald Trump because they just want to see something new and they fear that Tim Kaine just proves that Hillary Clinton is very establishment?
Yeah. I don't want to think about it. It's kind of odd that they would be that way, that you would go from one extreme to the other just because your candidate didn't win the primary. That's not how it works. So it bothers me if people do that, and I've seen some people say that, which just tells me they've totally checked out and were never that much involved anyway. It's just like, no, this isn't how things are going. You don't get mad, take your toys, and go home.
Do you think that Gary Johnson, the Libertarian nominee, or even Jill Stein, the Green Party nominee, should be of any serious concern to Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump?
I don't know about their polling. I haven't checked what the latest polling is, but I hope not. I hope it's not going to be another Nader Gore fiasco that we had, but I hope that the numbers aren't there. But the Democrats need to unite. Most of us are united already, and we won't be worried about that.
Now, this video will hopefully be viewed by high school students. Do you have any closing remarks, especially for them?
What I would say is to high school students is get involved early. Get involved with politics before you can vote. So you get out there and you can go out, help your local parties, because change starts at the local level. And if we really want big change in this country, is that you start at the local level and you can get it, and it can happen. So get out there, register the vote when you can, and vote.
Mr. Bynum, thank you for joining me
Thank
today.
you. All right.
Several Hillary Clinton delegates from Tennessee were all staying in the same location. While interviewing Mr. Bynum, I also had the chance to meet Mr. Ashford Hughes, a community organizer in Nashville, Tennessee. What follows is my interview with him.
I'm here with Ashford Hughes, a Tennessee delegate for Hillary Clinton. Mr. Hughes, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks so much for having me.
First, I'd like you to tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you get involved with politics?
Currently, right now, I'm the senior advisor for labor and workforce for Nashville Mayor Megan Barry. I got involved in politics in college. I graduated from Tennessee State University, which is also out of Nashville, and myself and two other friends, we restarted the College Democrats at Tennessee State. So that was my first foray into politics. From there, I began volunteering with the State Democratic Party, eventually getting an internship with then Congressman Harold Ford Jr., who also around the same time ran for U.S. Senate. So from that internship, I was hired on by the campaign to do African American outreach in the state of Tennessee. And from there, that was in 2005. I've been in politics ever since.
So have you volunteered for previous campaigns, for example, the Barack Obama campaign in 2012 or 8?
Well, I've worked on a multitude of campaigns, not just volunteering, but actually being a paid either senior staff or a campaign manager in 4 or 5 different states, mostly in the southern area. I worked on a campaign in Boston. Now, at the time of the Barack Obama campaign, I was working again at the state Tennessee Democratic Party as outreach coordinator for the entire state. So I worked on several campaigns that year, and we were also under the umbrella of also helping the president during that same time.
So why Hillary Clinton? Why not Bernie Sanders or any other Democrat?
Well, I think for me, it goes to, or it went to right now, who would be the best person to govern the country. Myself, I also have a background in the labor movement, unionized workers' rights. So a lot of the issues that Bernie Sanders was pushing forward, I wholeheartedly believe in. But I also feel that Hillary Clinton has more experience in the necessary things needed, and I just feel like she is the better person to govern our party going forward.
Do you think that if Bernie Sanders had won the nomination, you would have supported him?
Oh, without a question. I don't think it was a Hillary or a bust for me. Whoever would have been the Democratic nominee between either two parties, I would have wholeheartedly got behind and supported their platform. So I still support Bernie in his endeavors, and I hope he and his individuals that supported him during the primary get on board and move forward as well.
Do you think that Tim Kaine was the right choice for Hillary as a running mate?
I do, for several factors. Tim would not be the sexy, far-left progressive choice that a lot of individuals want. But looking at the outlook of what could have happened, there were 3 probably more progressive, sexy picks. Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, Sherrod. They could have been sexier picks, but they also are in Republican states where a Republican governor would have appointed their Senate replacement. So we don't need to lose any more seats in the United States Senate. So I think Tim is a good choice. I had a chance to meet him when I was working on a campaign in Virginia. He has a solid grassroots support, being the former DNC chairperson. He believes in a lot of positive progressive issues. And I think more so than it being a safe pick for Hillary Clinton, I think he's the type of individual that she can balance out certain issues with, and he will be a good listener and a good person that she can get advice from going forward.
Now, you've spent a lot of your time in outreach and talking to people about the candidates. What are your thoughts on Donald Trump? Do you think it would be easy to convince people against him, or do you think it's particularly hard because he has such a strong pull in the middle class and the working people?
I think some of those numbers are per se inflated by what Donald Trump says. I don't think he has a large populace of people across broad spectrums. I think he has what he has, which is his red meat. We're going to support Trump no matter what group of individuals. These are your more some working class, white American individuals. But I don't think that goes to the broad stretch of individuals that are going to come out and vote. I don't think it's hard to show people that Donald Trump isn't the correct person to vote for. Like I say, he's going to have those certain people that say, we want our country back. That's a small segment of the population. 30% of people feel that way. I believe, because I've also worked in policy with working men and women in the labor movement and in other atmospheres, and they are not for Donald Trump because of what he hearkens to, the build a wall stuff, the take our country back, make America great again. We're already a great country. I think Hillary can lay out a format and a platform that says to the American people, no matter what class, race, or background, this is the direction that America is going in. We're optimistic, and we speak for everybody, not just a small, concentrated few.
So, based on that, do you think that Hillary has good chances of winning the election in November?
I do. I think Hillary has a great chance of winning, but in no election do you take your opponent for granted. In no match in life do you take your opponent for granted. She's going to have to come out. Hillary has a lot of negatives against her because people feel like she may not be as trustworthy. You have these email speculation, her past vote on the war in Iraq. So Hillary has a lot of trust to gain and trust to earn from the American voters. So she's going to have to go out here along with Tim Kaine and make the case. In the past, Hillary sometimes doesn't do well as a campaigner. So she's going to need those surrogates that are supporting her to come out and really push and sell Hillary Clinton to the American people on the broader context.
Now, do you think that Hillary Clinton's establishment status might hurt her because of all of the time she spent in the public eye, all of the time she spent, giving her decision on various factors, for example, Keystone Pipeline, where she changed her decision because she made her decision a long time ago?
Mm-hmm. Well, and that goes back to, I would say yes and no. Originally, I was not a Hillary Clinton supporter, really not a Bernie Sanders supporter either. I was hoping someone new or someone different was involved in running for president for the Democratic Party. I'm not a believer that one family should hold a monopoly on our politics in this country. But when I saw who were my options, Hillary Clinton was the best of those options. I feel sometimes we get enamored with saying catchphrases like she's part of the establishment or this is part of the establishment. I mean, politics is a career. Public service is a career. So technically, is she part of the establishment? Yes. Are certain people turned off by that? Maybe so. But if I have a choice, and if you really look at the options based off of who we have running for president, we have the quote-unquote Hillary Clinton established candidate who has credentials, the resume of public service, or we have a candidate that speaks all about himself, is about making the dollar, and that is it. And he has not even run for an office such as Metro Council or anything remotely in the public eye. I just don't feel that's the right way to go.
Do you think that Donald Trump has been essentially shooting himself in the foot by not thinking about minorities that he may have offended during the process?
I think, unfortunately, Donald Trump does not care about that. Shoot himself in the foot, maybe not so much, because those that are going to vote for him are going to vote for him regardless. But I think the numbers explain themselves. He's polling around 1% to 2% max for African Americans, same percent for Latinos, really low in numbers for women voters. And without those three segments of the population, you cannot win the presidency. So in the long run, he's not only shooting himself in the foot, he's shooting the Republican Party in the foot as well, because he's not bringing anybody or any of those constituencies into the process.
Do you think that Hillary Clinton has been holding back her negative ads against Donald Trump in order to make sure that he's first the nominee and then convince the American people against Donald Trump?
You know, I can't say she has an ad out now, and I wouldn't say it's necessarily a negative ad, but it's an ad that shows little kids watching Donald Trump's past comments, where he talked about women, where he talked about the disabled reporter. I think the closer it gets to election day, I think most campaigns, that is when they turn up the negative, so to speak, ads. I think the closer we'll get, you start seeing those contrast ads and really laying out what Donald Trump has actually said.
What do you think is Hillary Clinton's strongest appeal to undecided voters?
I think her governing ability in this uncertain time that we have right now. We have a lot of things going on in our country that people really feel uncertain about, whether it's the tensions between, police officers, race relations in this country, where are we going with wages and our economics. I think her strongest appeal is that, look, we need someone in office right now that has governed in the past, that knows how to work with all sides on the aisle, and that is not just coming in here fly by night saying, we're going to make deals, we're going to be great again. Like, what does that mean? We don't need an experimental president right now. We need someone who has the pedigree and has had the experience to kind of continue the ship that Obama has been leading us on.
Do you think that third-party candidates like Libertarian Gary Johnson or Green Party nominee Jill Stein should be of real concern to either camp, as to avoid situations similar to 2000?
I think you always have to be concerned. Those individuals have, their right to run as much as any other person. I would like to ask, make certain that all the Bernie Sanders supporters and people that are reluctant about Hillary, before you go to them, really think about what they do when they vote for a potential Johnson, or is it Stein, right? Mm-hmm. Think about it, because if you vote for them, you're essentially voting for a Donald Trump, or if you not in support of Hillary, then you're voting for a Hillary Clinton. Those candidates realistically are only going to get maybe 1% of the total popular vote, maybe 1%. They're not going to win. That's just a fact. So people have the right to vote who they want to vote for, but if you do not want Donald Trump to be president of the United States, you have to vote for Hillary Clinton.
Now, Hillary Clinton right now is polling at 59% unfavorable rating. What do you think she can do to make that a higher percentage? A higher favorability?
Well, I think it continues. She has to get out there with her surrogates and really make the case for who she is. She has to get out and tell her story. Her story right now is being dictated by, she destroyed emails, she's untrustworthy, she talked about words like super predator. She has to get out and advance her own personal story about what she did with the Children's Defense Fund, what she's been doing to help women earn the same type wages as men going forward. She has to get out and talk about how she stood behind President Obama for years as Secretary of State and was a diplomatic success that had both parties, Republican and Democratic support, when she first left office from Secretary of State. In order to get those unfavorables down, she needs to really tell her story, and her campaign needs to make sure they tell the positive story of Hillary Clinton from now until November.
Now, this video will hopefully be viewed by high school students. Do you have any closing remarks, especially for them?
One thing that I would tell all high school students, please be involved early in the process. So when you're able to actually go and vote, it's already innate in yourself that you need to go out and express your civic duties. Your generation has access to more technology even than my generation when we were growing up in high school 15, 20 years ago. Use technology to do the research on all the candidates. find out what's going on in your community. You have that access at the drop of a dime. You also right now have the capabilities of influencing, your parents, your cousins and nephews that have the chance to vote right now by showing them all these different tools and technology to get engaged. High school students right now, you're going to be the next Tom Brokaw or someone from CNN leading